Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going back to DeLeon Springs for part 2 of my DeLeon Springs video. We're going to check out the gift shop and visitor center. We're also going to do the nature trail. Enjoy! Alright, the Fountain of Youth. To attract tourists in the 1880s, local business owners changed the name of this property from Spring Garden to Ponce de Leon Springs. This area was advertised in northern states as a winter resort with its own Fountain of Youth, pouring out millions of gallons of deliciously healthy water. That's cool. It was a good marketing gimmick back in the 1880s. And 1880s actually was the time of Little House on the Prairie. So the original sugar mill ruins are right here. It was in use from the 1850s to the 1870s. It was not my imagination running wild with me. The mill is actually turning now. Do you see it? It's turning very slowly, but it actually is turning. That's so cool. Here's the actual spring. I love how there's a platform that you could essentially enter the spring from. What a beautiful spot though. Okay, so I'm actually gonna try to touch the water and see how warm it actually is compared to the temperatures out here. Oh wow, that feels like warm water compared to the air temperatures out here. That's pretty amazing. Here's another shot of the beautiful DeLeon Spring. Wow. So straight ahead is the old sugar mill pancake house. Looks like the wheel stopped again. I don't get that. Maybe it only runs for short periods. It's lovely out here though. This is the visitor center and the gift shop. And it looks like they have some natural history exhibits here with some, it's oh my lord, it's a 4,000-year-old deer skull, carbon dated. And it was found in the springs in 1970. That's amazing. Holy smokes. DeLeon Springs' early inhabitants, the Mayaka, probably spent much of their time making tools, weapons, and utensils from local materials such as shell, flint, wood, and animal bones. That looks like it might be a replica tool / weapon from the pre-European days, perhaps. I think I'm actually more intrigued by the natural history. That looks like a gigantic alligator skull, and maybe that's a western or eastern diamondback, armadillo. I guess this is some kind of turtle or tortoise. Oh my lord. So this is a bear skull. Much bigger than my dog's head, that's for sure. Look how big this hog jaw is. Now that would tear you up. And then another alligator skull. Very cool. And they have merchandise for the kids as well. Historical artifacts from the area surrounding the spring has been continually occupied. So perhaps this came from the land around the springs. Very pretty though. DeLeon, Florida water. Now that must be worth something to a collector. I think that's awesome. Here's a poster that talks about Sunshine Sally, the famous water skiing elephant. The nice lady that works here says that was in the 50s. Hopefully animal exploitation like this doesn't happen ever. Personally, I don't believe an elephant should be chained to some kind of device and forced to ski across the lake. That's just my 2 cents. I actually spent a good while chatting with a nice lady that works here at the visitor center. She told me all the backstory about, well, the elephant that we just mentioned. What actually sparked the conversation was this refrigerator magnet of Sunshine Sally, the water skiing elephant. Sunshine Sally was an Indian or Asian elephant. The elephant on this little magnet is an African elephant. But I still think it's beautiful. And the $5.50 that I spent to buy this refrigerator magnet is going to help to support this spring and the people who work here. I feel like that's a good thing. I think what we want to do now is just explore the grounds a little bit more. There's a nature trail, and then looks like there's a boat dock over here. I'm going to start with the boat dock. Wow. It's amazing how sunny it is but it's freezing cold. It's still in the 40s. It's still in the 40s, but with the wind chill, it's much colder than that. Oh wow, here's a beautiful shot of the waterfall that's coming off the spring and into, I guess this is the lake or the river. I'm not sure. That's beautiful. Here's an informative sign. Manatee Lover Lane. Navigate with care, manatees are there. The sad reality is a lot of manatees end up injured from propellers, but they're such beautiful, gentle creatures. It looks like we can rent these kayaks. I absolutely would do that. That looks like a lot of fun. The sign says you can look, but please don't touch, chase, feed, or give water to us. Why would you give water to a manatee? That's weird. You would think that they would have plenty of water in the springs. Here's another alligator warning sign. I definitely would not be swimming out here. I would swim in the spring though, because it's very unlikely that an alligator would be in that confined space. And it's completely separate from this lake. Wow. So this is the boat dock. If you're not careful, you could literally walk off the end. Looks like you can rent these little paddle boats. That looks like a lot of fun. I'm gonna bring Raymond back, or a friend, probably Raymond, and we're gonna do maybe some kayaking, and maybe another time do paddle boating. I love the cypress trees. They become some of my favorite trees because they're so beautiful. Of course the foliage has fallen off, but they're beautiful, and they also can stand to grow in the water. They don't rot. They thrive in really wet conditions. This platform is like rocking in the waves. That's kind of unsettling, but I think I'll be fine. Another shot of the waterfall right there. I'm gonna check out this other little, I guess it's a pier, not a dock, I don't know. Oh wow, this is where you launch your kayak. That's cool, I've never seen such a thing. So you just put your kayak in there and somehow somehow launch yourself off of it. I'm guessing these notches are where you put your oars to propel yourself forward to launch. Park opens at 8 a.m. and closes at sundown. I'm guessing this would be a good spot to find an alligator in this sort of somewhat murky water. Let's take a look at this little inlet. Wow. So these are the cypress trees that I was talking about, and most of the leaves have fallen. That looks like some kind of lilies, the flowers, like just coming off of the bank there. That was the reflection of the branch, and I thought it was an alligator. Holy smokes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna think that every log is an alligator. I'm kind of terrified of them. This looks like a really good spot to hang out for a little bit. Oh, I didn't even notice that there are benches. So you could totally hang out here and hopefully not get dragged in the water by an alligator. But look how pretty it is. It's amazing. You know, I had no idea that DeLeon Springs was this beautiful, and I'm so glad I decided to head out this way today to share this with you guys. So there's the spring right there, and the old sugar mill pancake house across the spring. There's the restrooms and the visitor center, and just behind the visitor center are the nature trails. I'm gonna explore a little bit. Probably won't stay out here too long because it is cold and windy, but it sure is pretty. I'm so glad that we moved here and that all of this is available to us, and I had no idea that there would be this much nature for us to enjoy. Let's go take a look now. I'm the only one out here, and it's probably because the park is empty, and that is because low 40s is freezing weather for us here in Florida. I'm not sure which way to go. I'm gonna go this way. I'm surprised that these trails are paved though, but I'm guessing that makes it easier for us to ride our bikes once we get bikes. Wow, it sure is pretty though. It's a forest for sure. I'm quite certain that if we were out here at the right time of day, we would run into bears. I'm absolutely not trying to see a bear today. I'm not sure what I would do if I did see a bear. Hopefully I wouldn't become lunch. Oh, so these are actually called, okay, I'm learning something today. This beautiful palm tree is called a sable palm or sabal palm, commonly called cabbage palm. Florida's state tree was of great importance to early Floridians. The trunk was used by Indians and pioneers for log houses. That's amazing. I'm surprised that they used palm trees for log houses. And then the leaves are still used today for roofs of the Seminole chickees and can be woven into hats and baskets. The heart, called swamp cabbage, can be eaten raw or cooked. However, this kills the tree and should be discouraged. So we're not going to be eating the tree. But that's cool. I had no idea. We actually have these all over our property. And I thought they were just another type of palmetto palm, but not the same at all. So just off the trail there is Old Methuselah. This is the boardwalk to Old Methuselah, which is, I believe Old Methuselah is an ancient cypress tree, but we'll find out. We'll find out shortly. Holy smokes, this is an actual swamp where you have standing, stagnant water, and I'm sure when the water levels get just high enough, alligators would swim in here. And this is definitely where mosquitoes would breed. Thank goodness it's cold today. Otherwise, I have a feeling I would be swarmed with the mosquitoes. So this is an example of a Florida cypress swamp. It's an actual swamp, like I said, and it's loaded with just beautiful cypress trees. I say they're beautiful, even though the leaves have fallen. They will be back in just a couple of months, the leaves and the foliage. The cypress swamps are dominated by towering bald cypress and the shorter pond cypress. These distinctive habitats are found throughout Florida. They can occur as cypress ponds or domes, as cypress strands, which are long, narrow formations. Cypress trees are conifers that lose their needles during the winter. Because their seeds cannot germinate underwater, cypress trees require habitat that are periodically dry. That's good to know. Like I said, cypress is one of my favorite trees, and this cypress swamp contains the two different types in Central Florida are the pond cypress and the bald cypress. I know that the bald cypress tends to have like a bulbous base. I'm not sure why it's called bald cypress, but they're just beautiful trees. Wow. So straight ahead is Old Methuselah. This cypress tree, which is over 500 years old, got its name in the 1950s when the park was the Ponce de Leon Springs tourist attraction. The tree somehow survived the early 1900s when cypress trees throughout Florida were cut for lumber. Fun fact that I learned years ago, a lot of the columns on these neoclassical Greek Revival mansions were actually made of entire cypress trunks. Amazing. And what's good about cypress is that it's rot resistant and extremely strong. Here's Old Methuselah. Old Methuselah looks like it's about 15 to 20 stories tall. It's amazingly large. I'm sure the seeds from Old Methuselah helped to populate this cypress forest. It's amazing. You see the growths coming out of the water. Those are called cypress knees. And I'm told that the cypress knees help the roots to breathe underwater or something like that. I think it has something to do with the tree's respiration during like flood times. Actually, it doesn't smell swampy. It smells clean. I imagine in the summertime, this is just loaded with mosquitoes. Wow. If you've made it this far in the video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. I have a question. Maybe you guys can answer this. What kind of tree drops these balls? Are they birch balls? What are they? Do you guys know what these are?
I wish I did.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think it might be called birch balls, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure if these are called birch balls or these birch trees. I don't know, but they're pretty beautiful. I think these might be birch balls from birch trees, but I could be wrong. We actually had these very trees in Hollywood in front of our condo when we used to live there with my good friend Danny. Those were the days. It is unbelievably beautiful here. And like I said, I'm so glad I just decided to stop by. What's even more amazing is that this park is about a half-hour drive from our house, maybe 20 miles. I think the town is called DeLeon Springs, but this is DeLeon Springs State Park, and it's just north of DeLand. And we're in Volusia County, by the way. Here's a little sign that talks about the barred owl. Not the barn owl, but the barred, B-A-R-R-E-D owl. This North American, oh God, there it goes. Holy, there's the owl right there. Wait, holy smokes. Can we see it? The owl is right there. How amazing. That's amazing that this giant owl just flew past while we were reading its sign. You couldn't plan that. I'm gonna see if we can get a shot of it. Woo-hoo. Woo-hoo. And there it goes. Wow, that was amazing. Holy smokes, I can't believe that we're reading the sign about the owl and the actual owl flew past us. Oh my Lord. You know what's cool is at our house, like late at night, I hear owls and it sounds a little bit like Halloween, but I love the sound of nature and I think owls are pretty amazing. But I do have to watch out for, like, if my cat ever gets out, an owl like that could pick up my cat and take it away and eat it. So you have to respect the birds of prey. Here's a little bit more of the nature trail before we wrap it up because it is chilly. Thank goodness we have a little bit of sunlight filtering through the trees. I'm just so amazed that we just saw that owl and it was hanging out for quite some time. And then when my camera was off, the owl tried to attack another bird and probably was trying to eat it, but it was unsuccessful. I think that owl is the king of this forest around here. Quite impressive and intimidating. Here's more of the cypress swamp. I want to turn like the little wetland on our property into something like this, but without the standing stagnant water. And it's cool that there's a fork in the road. Do you take the left fork or the right fork? I think the left fork looks very inviting because there's a park bench just waiting for me to have a seat. I mean, if I wanted to have a seat, but I have been on my feet for quite a while. And apologies for the shaky camera. My Pocket 3 is almost out of batteries. But you guys enjoy. And it's more stable because it has a gimbal built in. That's unbelievably beautiful. Maybe this is gonna be my new like thumbnail. So, this is Monkey Island Trail. This two-way quarter-mile trail, which was home to several monkeys when the park was an attraction in the 50s and 60s. The island was seen from the Jungle Cruise tour boat. Huh, I wonder if it's actually an island. It's probably not an actual island. Probably a peninsula. Maybe it's an island. Where are the monkeys, though? Inquiring minds want to know. Yikes. We're in the jungle, people. This is quite beautiful. But it also looks like a place where you would encounter some wildlife, like a bear. Or maybe an alligator. Is this Monkey Island? It is a little island with a moat around it, but there's not much to it. Right there's the island. Right there's Monkey Island. Huh. Poor monkeys are long gone, though. I know there's a bunch of monkeys up at Silver Springs in Ocala. I don't know how they survive out there as cold as it is right now, but I'm sure they manage. Another shot of Monkey Island. Wow, it's actually really small. It's like a zoo exhibit. And these trees look like they're about to collapse. So this is what the dense underbrush looks like And I think that's as far as I'm gonna go off the trail because I'm not trying to get killed by a bear. That is for sure. In this forest with the sunlight just filtering through the canopy. There's more cypress swamp with the cypress knees and some giant cypress trees. I definitely would not want to be caught out here after dark though. That would be a great way to meet up with a bear. It's like the swamps of Hoth. Is Hoth where Yoda used to live? It looks like where Yoda came from. But what's really cool about this spot, if you stand still for a second, all you hear is nature. So far, the most abundant wildlife I've seen out here are the squirrels. I filmed so much today that my camera actually died, but luckily I had my iPhone to back me up. You know what's good though? It's still bright and sunny out here at the spring. It's virtually deserted though. I see only people that work here. There's a few guys over there playing volleyball. Looks like they're having a good time. But here's the spring. I want to feel it one more time just to be sure. How warm is it? Am I gonna fall in? I'm not gonna fall into this thing, am I? Oh wow. Oh, I can clean my shoes. Okay, here we go. Let's touch it. It's bearable. It's not. It actually felt warmer over there across the pond, and I'm wondering if that's because it's closer to the spring water. It looks like right in the middle you can see sort of, it looks like where the water is like radiating from. You can see the bottom here. It doesn't say how deep it is, but it looks like it's at least maybe 4 or 5 feet deep. Hard to say. This was my first time out to DeLeon Springs and I'm just amazed at how beautiful it is. Here's the waterfall again behind me. Right there. This is the waterfall. A huge volume of water is coming out of the ground here and feeding this lake. But look how clear it is. That's amazing. There's a great blue heron straight ahead. Let's see if we can zoom in. There's a great blue heron right there, just poking its head out. Hi. And there it goes. How beautiful is that?